Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today we are working in my December daily album on story number 2. For today's story, I'm going to be documenting my kids' Christmas wish lists. I will be using this kind of grid type pattern paper that I actually drew up myself in Procreate, and then a leftover piece of vellum that I've had for either a year or two from Allie Edwards. I'm thinking I will take this piece of vellum and turn it into a pocket to hold the little Christmas wish lists that my kids wrote on the scalloped tags. Now, I basically stamped out names and numbers and gave each of the lists to my kids and asked them to tell me their top 5 things that they most wanted for this holiday season. That's not necessarily all they'll be getting, but I wanted to know what their most wanted things were. And I thought that this was a good way to do that without getting like a never-ending list of kind of nonsense, because you know how kids can be. So I really liked doing this, and surprisingly, basically all 3 of our kids just asked for journaling supplies, which I really love, and they probably get that from me, but hey. So I just trimmed down that piece of vellum. I believe I trimmed it to about 3 inches, and I grabbed some sewing clips. I'm going to clip these 2 pieces of paper together, and I'm going to sew this vellum down. Clipping paper instead of like doing temporary adhesive tends to work best for me, and it doesn't get my sewing machine all goopy with adhesive. So I like to use these little sewing clips whenever I am just sewing my paper together. So I actually brought my phone over with me to my sewing machine that I've got set up on my dining room table, so I could include this into the video as well. I am just using a regular old standard straight stitch, and I believe that my stitch length was at 3 for this particular day, or whenever I was sewing this. I'm pretty sure it was at 3, and I'm going around in a rectangle. I'm just going to go all the way around my page, doing my starting stitch and then my back stitch so that my stitches don't come loose. And then I'm going to basically end that stitch and then go back over to the right hand side of my page and just add a little outline for the holes that I will punch as well. So instead of going all the way to the edge of the right of the page, I just kind of ended a little bit sooner and came up a little bit sooner. That way I wouldn't end up accidentally hole punching anything. And then when I'm going back again to do that final little stitch around the edge, I'm doing that super close to the edge of the paper. That way I don't, again, run the risk of hole punching those threads. So that's going to be it for just my kind of little sewing here. I don't normally include this part of the process on my videos, but I thought it would be fun to include it this time around. So we are heading back over to my crafty desk, and I'm just going to trim off some of my threads and then trim down this paper. I am cutting a lot of the design of this vellum off because, honestly, the design was only around the very edge of the paper. But I was just looking to have kind of a border look around the pocket, so this was perfectly fine for me. And you can see really easily on the back of my paper kind of how I did that stitching. I'm just testing to make sure that my little tags are fitting exactly how I wanted to, and I am quite liking them. I'm going to grab out my Typewriter Complete alphabet stamp, and I'm going to stamp directly on this vellum with some Ranger Archival Black ink in jet black. And I'm going to stamp very slowly. Like, this is sped up quite a bit, but I'm stamping very, very slowly to make sure that my hand is not like slipping or anything like that, to get the cleanest, clearest impression on this vellum, because vellum is very slippery. And I chose to use this archival waterproof ink just because it would dry a little bit faster than if I were to use a water-based ink or something like that. And I would, not as easily smudge it. So I'm just writing out Christmas wish lists and putting a little heart at the end of it. The little character that I used for the heart is just like that carrot character that points upwards. I just flipped it upside down because I figured it looked like a little heart. I'm also pulling out a little bin that I have of very large numbers, and I'm going to see if I can use one of these on this spread. I have been, just collecting these and not actually using them on anything because they are so big, but I am going to use one today. I'm going to get it used. I don't end up using the felt number 2, but I do end up pulling the number 2 out of this kind of transparency plastic piece. I felt like the red matched a little bit better on that one. So I'm going to use that red too that I have down at the bottom of my screen. And I'm also going to grab out the ribbon that was available for this year and the ribbon that was available last year from Allie Edwards. And I'm going to kind of place those side by side and see which red I like more, essentially, because I was going to use red ribbon because I thought it complemented the green outline of the tags very well. The red from this year is a little bit fluorescent though, so it wasn't matching the red vibes that I had on any of the papers or this number, so I ended up pulling like the more solid red from the ribbon from last year. And I'm going to place just a little ribbon in each of these tags and then staple that closed or staple that down with my tiny attacher tool. Here I'm just kind of comparing the two and seeing which one I like more and which one matches the page the best. And it is going to be this ribbon that I placed in my daughter's Christmas wish list. I'm going to have a little bit of an issue here with my tiny attacher. So I have like a staple stuck, so I have to kind of get that fixed out, and I just left it in here. So I'm going to end up needing to pull out my little awl tool to get the rogue staple out, and then I'll be able to actually staple all of this stuff down. Now, one thing I didn't notice when I was actually completing this is that the ribbons that I attach for both my sons, they are like a lot longer than the one I put on here for my daughter. And I either need to go in and trim those down, or I need to rework the placement that I have for the tags and put my daughter's tag in the middle and then have the 2 longer tags on the outside. I will most likely just trim them down because ultimately that's going to be the easier solution, and then I don't ever have to worry about how I have the tags placed. So that's probably what I will end up doing, is just placing those down. The only thing I don't like about this ribbon is that because it's on this like flat board, it's got like a huge crease in it. And I don't know what the best way to get that out would be. I'm kind of just hoping that once I've got it in my album, it'll flatten itself out. But that's the only dislike that I have for this ribbon, is basically with the way that it was packaged. Now it's got like a huge crease in it. So hopefully that goes away on its own. I'm going to get those stapled down and then staple down my number 2. And then we will pull out my 6-hole punch. This is the We Are Memory Keepers 6-hole punch. And I got this one, I believe, on Amazon. I either got it on Amazon or Michael's. And I really like that the holes are a little bit closer to the edge of the paper, because it's easier for me to accommodate for them, especially if I haven't thought about them beforehand. I don't have to worry about losing as much of my project due to the hole punches. But I definitely messed this whole page up here because I was supposed to have placed all of my whole stuff, my little whole box and my hole punches on the right hand side of the page, not the left hand side of the page, because this was going to be the back of story 1. So after I'm done filming and I'm kind of working out how to address this in my mind, I'm going to end up pulling a just piece of red pattern paper that I don't think that I'll end up using this year. And I'm going to just cover that whole left-hand side, the back of story 1, with a piece of pattern paper and like a cute little journaling card situation. You'll see it in tomorrow's video, but I didn't do that one on camera just because I was a little upset about it. I am going to be pulling out the vellum pieces from the Paisley Press kit from this year and just placing a little vellum bow right underneath my title. And then I will also pull out these puffy like title stickers. I think these are super, super old, but I really liked the little stars on here. I just like the shape of them a lot. So I'm going to pull out the 2 red stars and the black star and just sprinkle those around my page. And then that's pretty much gonna be it for today's story. I would love to know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. And definitely keep an eye out for tomorrow's video to see how I fixed the left-hand page. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!